All right, hello everyone. Hector, do you mind sharing host screen sharing with me, please? Thank you. Hector, can you verify that you hear me right now? Thank you. Hello, Budget Committee. Zoom has decided to update on me, and I'm working out all the tech kinks right now. Can you guys all see a screen in front of you? Perfect. Thank you, Ryan.
Tech problems just about resolved, Jordan?
Oh, I'm good on my end, Chair
Oh,
Peterson,
okay.
whenever you are. Thanks for
Okay.
checking.
Great. I'll start here in just a minute then.
What? What is?
Okay, it is 5:30 and I see enough people. So I will hereby call this meeting of the City of Talon Budget Committee to order for June 1st at 5:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilor Clark.
Here.
Councilor Panemarov.
Here.
Councilor Grader.
Here.
Councilor Pastizo.
Here.
Councilor Byers. Councilor Perrin Miller.
Here.
Mr. Zach Zegstrom.
Here.
Ms. Joy Riley. Mr. Ryan Peterson.
Here.
Ms. Anna D'Amato.
Here.
Ms. Felicia Hazel. I do see Ms. Hazel and the panelists. Ms. Hazel, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't unmute.
No worries.
Thank you.
Mr. Jerry Lay. I do not see him there. Chair Peterson, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on to the Budget Committee minutes. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes? Well, if there are no corrections, I would accept a motion.
See, I move to approve the meeting minutes for the Budget Committee meetings that occurred on May 18th and May 25th, 2022.
All right, thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Great. I have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes for the Budget Committee meetings of May 18th and 25th, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Point of
Aye.
order.
Oh,
I-
yes.
I think we said at some point, because we're doing these on Zoom, that all of our votes are roll call. At least that's been the practice. I don't know if we have latitude on that.
I see. Thank you for the correction, Counselor. Hector, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Chair Peterson, I'd like to bring it to your attention that Councillor Byers is in attendance.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Clark,
Yes.
Councillor Panemarov,
Yes.
Councillor Greider,
Yes.
Councillor Pestizo,
Yes.
Councillor Byers,
Yes.
Councillor Parra Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Zach Zegjian,
Yes.
Ms. Joy Riley, still present, Mr. Ryan Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Anna Diamato,
Yes.
Ms. Felicia Hazel.
I didn't attend the meeting, so I didn't know if I could approve or not. I did listen to one. So I don't feel like I can approve or not.
So are you abstaining?
Yes, I'll I'll abstain.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. On to number 3, budget and property tax review and work session. Jordan, would you like to lead us off here?
I would. Thank you so much, Chair. Hello again, Budget Committee. Kind of wishing that you guys met all year round, but I promise not to do that to you all. We went through the budget document a bit more in detail last week, May 18th. So pardon me, May 25th. So I will not be going through that document in detail again tonight. But happy to take any questions and walk through any sections that the committee members would like to have more eyes on. We will be requesting that if by the end of tonight's meeting, the budget committee is comfortable to go ahead and take budget committee actions that include approving the tax rate, approving the use of state shared revenues, and approving the budget. By completing those tonight, we'll be able to post it to the newspaper to have our 15th council budget meeting at the city council level. So we'll be walking through tonight just to remind everyone of what we're looking at. Is we're looking at expecting a sum total of revenue to come in at $19,056,635. And we have a balanced budget expecting to have expenditure put into our fund balances that $19,056,636,000. And with that, I would love to open it up to any questions that the budget committee may have about the budget document that you all have reviewed or the budget process.
Great, thank you very much, Jordan. And do we have questions?
And Chair Peterson, I will take this as the fact that we had an incredible presentation last week,
That's right.
and not that it was a holiday weekend.
Okay, I saw Councillor Clark's hand go up.
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to discuss adding a line for the Talent Urban Forestry Committee into the budget. Is this the time to do that business, or should that come later in the meeting?
Councilor Clark, what we have opted to do for this proposed budget is we just have a line item for council discretionary where all potential committee funds are sitting in that line item. And then at our June 1st meeting tonight with City Council will discuss if they want to, if after the budget is adopted or approved in their version, delineate out those funds to specific committees.
Okay, all right. So I can raise this at the council meeting as opposed to this budget meeting.
That'd be wonderful.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
And Jordan, if you could you remind me what the council's discretionary amount is this year?
We currently have it slated at 25,000.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other questions?
I do have a question to the committee.
Go ahead.
I will scroll down now so you won't get dizzy. Last budget meeting, Councillor and committee member Panamareff raised the great point of how can we make those ARPA funds the most flexible. Doing some digging, we had originally proposed to put those ARPA funds in our contingency for our general fund, meaning it's money that we could access if we decide that there was a need for spending it. If we were to use more than 15%, we would have to go through a supplemental budget process to reappropriate that contingency fund. And so after some conversation, the finance director and I would love to propose to you all to move that contingency of the ARPA funds. We had about $1 million in ARPA funds in contingency, to move it into the actual spending categories as their own line item to allow a little bit more flexibility and not potentially having to go through the supplemental budget process. What you see on the screen here is what those changes would look like. So general fund contingency would go down to 250,000, but we'd then have a line item for capital outlay, materials and services, and personnel. The pros of this is that the city might not have to go through a supplemental budget process to spend ARPA funds if we identify a program that we need very quickly. I would say the con of this is we don't know exactly how we would like to spend our ARPA funds. That's an ongoing conversation with City Council as well as the community. So right now, these budget amounts are best guesses just based off of likelihood of where funding interest may lie.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Panamareff?
Yeah, I just want to say I love this approach. I think that if these look like good guesses to me, but if they weren't, I think we're pretty under the 10% as far as moving them around a little bit. And I think the advantage of not going through the supplemental budget process is time, and it gives us the flexibility and we can act more quickly. I think this is very thoughtful. I guess that I do have just a question on process. If the committee were to wish to incorporate this into the current budget, could we would just say, as amended with the ARPA spending categories described during the meeting, or is there a little handy verbiage you have for us in the case we would like to make these kinds of amendments?
Yes, in the case that the committee would like to make these amendments for the approved budget, I do have a motion worded that simply says, we move to approve the budget as shared for the fiscal year 22-23, etc. But we can wordsmith away if the committee is comfortable with more exact wording.
Thank you, Jordan.
Thank you. And Member D'Amato?
Sorry, Jordan, can you explain? So maybe I missed it. Is the proposal to actually take all the ARPA funds out of the current budget and move it into its own budget, or is it considered a supplemental budget to this budget? And why doesn't why will you be able to have more flexibility in the way you're proposing? So sorry, I just missed that actual, logistically what you would be doing. Are you taking it out or what?
I'll show you, we're moving where it's located. And if you all, I'm gonna scroll, so apologies. So those that get motion sickness, close your eyes for a second. I'm gonna scroll down to where we currently have our ARPA funds. So the city received about 1.4 million ARPA funds to be used over the next couple of years. So in the proposal that we have given you all, we've put $1 million of that ARPA funds in contingency. And really what that's saying is, you know, we have this $1 million on ARPA. We don't know how we want to spend it yet. And so we're putting it in contingency until discussions can be had about how we want to spend it. To move it out of contingency, depending on how much we move out, but the likelihood is we'd have to go through what's called a supplemental budget process to amend our budget to move those into actual spending categories. We can't spend contingency money until we move it into a materials and services or into a personnel or into a capital outlay cost item. So what the proposal would do is it would take $1 million out of contingency. And then here we go, close those eyes again, and it would make its own line item. Where am I? Here we go. You know, it would make a line item. So there'd be a ARPA personnel line item that we create that we would put in 100,000. There would be a ARPA materials and services line item that we'd create that would have 500,000. And then if we decide to spend those funds, we would not have to go through that supplemental budget process.
Thank you. That's what I needed. Thank you. That makes a lot more sense. Thanks.
Of course.
I had a
Mr.
question if that was okay.
Go ahead.
So Jordan, if you were, let's say you put, like you have your allocations, and let's say at the end of the day, you're like, well, we actually needed 200,000 there and 400,000 there. Do you still have to do a supplemental budget if you want to change the amounts that you're actually spending it on?
So it depends on how we want to move funds around. So there's, you know, our personnel expenses, those are lumped together. So we could move it across all these different accounts without having to go through any additional process. Same with materials and services. If the spending falls within materials and services as a broad category, we can move funds around, no problem. If it comes that we ended up putting, say, if we ended up putting, you know, 500,000 into capital and only 400,000 materials, and we realized later on, oh no, we need $600,000 in materials and services, we would have to go through through a supplemental budget process to move 200,000 from capital into materials and services. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Three
so
spending categories. Yeah.
it's also trying to limit the amount of extra work you guys need to do down the line, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
But I will say if it's at the comfort level of the committee or the council, we're always happy to do that work if they feel it is increased transparency or public input.
All right. Thank you, Councilor Clark. Councilor Clark.
Yeah. So yeah, this discussion kind of dovetails with my earlier question in that I was suspecting that the projects that would be undertaken by the Urban Forestry Committee may very well be eligible under this ARPA money. And I suspect that that may be true for some of the projects that other committees and commissions are proposing. Is that true, I guess? And is that pertinent to to our work here tonight at this meeting?
I would say evaluating individual projects for ARPA, is a really good practice to do with our auditor, to have them help weigh the criteria just to give us that extra balance. I would say ARPA funds can be used very broadly, so the likelihood that they apply to specific projects is high.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day, the city can decide, what we'll likely do with these ARPA funds is give a presentation to City Council saying, City Council, we are interested in establishing these programs. These are eligible for ARPA. Would you like to use ARPA funds, or would you like to use our own general fund revenue that is not ARPA tagged?
Okay.
really what it is, what we have to do at the end of every year is we have to submit a report to ARPA, just doing the line items of how we spent that ARPA money. And so it's more of at that reporting point, what would we like to put into the ARPA bucket versus not?
Okay, so it's not, it wouldn't be a big deal to move money out of one or more of these categories into a project being undertaken by a commission or a committee?
Correct. It would be
If-
no problem. I would ask that we just charge it to a ARPA specific line item to help us with our grant tracking.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Great. Thanks for clearing that up. Any other questions? I am not seeing, oh, Member D'Amato. You're still on mute.
Yeah. I hate this small screen, so I'm sorry. I'm scrolling back and forth. And so I just have a couple of questions on the budget, the general fund, and the revenues. Just like one is just a clear, it looks to me like we are anticipating the revenue to be similar to 2021, right? Like, so like the franchise taxes, it went from 438,360 to now we're proposing 435. So there's a couple line items like that where it looks like we're anticipating better revenue, sort of like cutting out last year as a really the odd year, right? So I want to make sure I'm reading that correctly.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And
what we're
then-
seeing, oh, sorry, Commissioner D'Amato, I'll make one quick clarification.
Mhm.
So what you see here in your budget document is what was budgeted for this 21-22. We did do our projections based off what we actually saw in 21-22. And so in a lot of scenarios, for example, franchise taxes, we saw more come in than expected, which is why we expect that kind of return to normal levels in this year.
Right, but it also, if we look at actuals for 2021, it's closer to those actuals as well. So that's what I was
Exactly.
comparing it to. So great.
Mhm.
And then I get really this revenue always cracks me up, the marijuana, cigarette and liquor taxes. And it looks like the marijuana tax, we're expecting less. Did it get, is some of that revenue in another fund? Did I miss it? Or are we really anticipating that much of a decrease in the tax?
Let me take a look. This was based off of what we received this past year in marijuana taxes.
Okay.
We are receiving significantly lower this year than we received last year.
Mhm.
And I need to look in if there was a change
Mhm.
to how this, pardon me, how the state taxes marijuana. Or though I will say this local marijuana tax, we did lose a couple dispensaries in the fire.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
And so we did lose a lot of our local revenue of marijuana
Mhm.
tax, but the state marijuana tax, I'd have to look more deeply into. I apologize.
No, that's okay. All right. I think that's my questions for now. I'm going to look one more place and make sure I'll look and see if I have one more question. Thanks.
Commissioner Hazel. Or Member Hazel.
Just related to that and Jordan's response or answer, do we get funds from the state other than the local marijuana taxes?
We receive the state marijuana tax, which is a tax in additional to what town levies locally. We receive a cigarette tax, a liquor tax, as well as a state shared revenue file. And all of those are, from my understanding, based off of population size. And we did see about a 600 to 800 person decrease post-fire from our new population estimates. So we have seen a small decrease in those categories projecting forward. We're working with PSU to re-up those population estimates for future years, which is we're in the appeal process currently for that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, and Member D'Amato, did you have another question? Oh, okay. I saw your hand still up, so I wasn't sure. Okay. Any further questions? All right. If there are no further questions, we can move on to consideration of approval, and looks like we have some motions pulled up on the screen if anyone's ready to make one.
And if you don't mind, Chair Peterson, I'll do a quick explanation. I know we have a couple of new budget committee members.
Sure.
So every single year, the budget committee needs to approve the tax rate that we'll be levying. For here in Talent, it is our property tax is our one permanent rate tax levy currently going on. And that the max amount we can have is set by the state level. And we currently do tax at our highest tax amount that we can do. So that is where this number $3.23 per $1,000 of assessed value comes from for our property taxes. And that's what that motion is about. The state shared revenue motion just moves us to accept that state shared revenue, including the state gas tax, the state liquor tax, like cigarette tax, etc. And of course, the motion for approving the budget helps move the budget to the next step of the process, which is then to whatever you all approve tonight, we will post notice in the newspaper. We will have a public hearing and city council will consider the budget and make any amendments they'd like, and then move it into adopted so that we can spend money in July 1st of 2022 and beyond.
Member Hazel?
I'm just wondering why one would not elect to receive state shared revenue for the city. I mean, is there a catch there?
Not that I know of, it's just one of those formalities we need to do to make sure that we check the boxes to receive it.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure we've had this question at previous budget committees, but I didn't remember this one. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for the explanation. Still accept any questions, but otherwise I'll accept a motion as well. Member D'Amato?
I would like to make a motion that I move that the City of Talent Budget Committee approve property taxes for the 2022-2023 fiscal year at the rate of $3.2316 per $100,000 of assessed value for the permanent rate tax levy.
Second. Point of something. No, sorry, I just heard you say 100,000 instead of 1,000.
Did I say 100,000?
Yeah, so I just
think
for
it's,
one, I just want to get that
1,000.
fixed for the
It's been a long
record.
day. You have no idea. Okay, let me repeat that.
Thank you.
I move that the City of Talent Budget Committee approve property taxes for the 2022-2023 fiscal year at the rate of $3.2316 per $1,000 of assessed value for the permanent rate tax levy.
Second.
Great. We have a motion and a second to approve the tax rates as stated by Member D'Amato. Hector, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Council Clerk,
Yes.
Councilor Panemarov,
Yes.
Councilor Greider,
Yes.
Councilor Pestizo,
Yes.
Councilor Byers,
Yes.
Councilor Parra Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Zach Zegedrin,
Yes.
Chair Ryan Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Anna D'Amato,
Yes.
Ms. Felicia Hazel,
Yes.
motion carries.
Great. Thank you very much. And if we would like to receive the state shared revenues, I'll accept a motion on that.
I'd like to move to elect, may I make the motion to elect to receive the state shared revenue for the City of Talent for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022.
Second.
Great, thank you. I have a motion and a second to elect to receive the state shared revenue for the City of Talent for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022. Roll call, please.
Counselor Clark,
Yes.
Counselor Penamroff,
Yes.
Counselor Greider,
Yes.
Counselor Pestizo,
Yes.
Counselor Byers,
Yes.
Counselor Parra Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Zach Zegdrin,
Yes.
Chair Ryan Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Anna Diamato,
Yes.
Ms. Felicia Hazel,
Yes.
Mr. Jerry Lai.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you very much. And our final motion would be to approve the budget. Do I have a motion on that?
And Chair Peterson, a quick clarification before a motion is made.
Yes.
I'm going to, if you include as shared in the motion you make, I'm going to assume it's with the ARPA line items. If you don't include as shared, I will assume that it is the budget document as given to you all.
Thank you for the clarification. Counselor Penamroff?
Thank you, Chair. I move that the City of Talent Budget Committee approve the budget as shared for the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year in the amount of $19,056,635.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Great. I have a motion and a second to that the City of Talent Budget Committee approve the budget as shared for the 2022-2023 fiscal year in the amount of $19,056,635. Roll call, please.
Counselor Clark,
Yes.
Counselor Penamroff,
Yes.
Counselor Greider,
Yes.
Counselor Pestizo,
Yes.
Counselor Byers,
Yes.
Counselor Parra Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Zach Zegdrin,
Yes.
Chair Ryan Peterson,
Yes.
Ms. Anna Diamato,
Yes.
Ms. Felicia Hazel,
Yes.
Mr. Jerry Lai.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's see. Well, that is everything on our agenda here. I just want to take a moment to say thank you, everyone, for attending and contributing to this budget. And thank you to Jordan and all the staff for putting this together and bringing it so clearly to us.
And thank you so much, Chair Peterson, an excellent job.
Thank you.
Good job, Ryan.
Thank you. Now, maybe I'll give you another year off. Okay. Any final thoughts before we adjourn this meeting?
Chair Peterson, just a reminder to City Council members, it will be the same link for the City Council meeting at 6:45 p.m. tonight.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I will adjourn this meeting at 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thanks,
No.
Ryan.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Thank
everybody.
you. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks, Jerry. Great. Thank you, everyone.